Let's do a quick overview of how to ideally set up VS Code for React development. This will help speed up your development for this project as well as future ones. And I've solidified this after doing lots of projects like these, working very in depth with React, and it helps me greatly in getting things done quicker. So you can see all of my settings here for VS Code within this JSON file. You can just go to settings.json to be able to find that. And to see this option, you can just go up to View and then Command Palette, and you should have an option, Open Settings JSON. But in addition to all of this JSON code here, all these options in JSON format, we also have a UI where you can more easily set things up. The most important extension, so you can install extensions, special third-party tools using VS Code to add functionality. The most important one, if we go to View Extensions, the most important one I think exists for the sake of improving development is Prettier. So just type in Prettier. You want to install that, and this allows you to automatically format your code, automatically format any JavaScript file. It also works for other languages. But to be able to automatically format your code whenever you hit save, within settings, you just need to search for format on save and make sure that is set to true. That's just a simple checkbox. Now, one other tool that we're going to be using that's been around for a long time and is included within VS Code by default is Emmet. So if you type in Emmet, you should see a number of different settings for it. You're going to want to, in order to use Emmet for React, you're going to need to add within Emmet include languages. Within the example here, you can see the key or item of JavaScript and the value set to JavaScript React. Now, it's an important question, what exactly does Emmet do? The benefit of Emmet, if I were to go to, say, index.js, and we're going to see how to use it throughout the course, but the benefit of it is it allows you to very quickly write HTML code, or in our case, JSX, which is very similar. So it allows you to write elements and just immediately expand them, which is really a lifesaver. And it allows you to add classes. So for example, div.sum class, you can just write this in an abbreviated sense. You just need to write the tag and then the class itself, and then you hit either the suggestion here that pops up or just tab. And you can create very complex structures as well. We'll go into how to use Emmet in complete detail once again as we go throughout the course. One more suggestion, and this is just for this project in particular, but in any project where you need to use or would like to use absolute imports like I showed you here, if we go to imports, for VS Code we can set our preferences as to which path style we prefer. You can set it to relative, which is the default for a relative path, or you can set it to non-relative. So as it tells you, this is based off of the base URL configured in your jsconfig.json or tsconfig.json file if you're using TypeScript. So the significance of this is when we want to import something, we can use some very nice shortcuts with VS Code. So if we wanted to bring in a component such as the unAuthApp component, all we have to do, we don't have to even be up here at the top, we can just write it, say I write unAuthApp, I type this anywhere, this would be within the return of a component. All I have to do is either hit, once again, the suggestion or hit tab, and it immediately expands it. It adds that import. If I were to add a nested import, say the feed component within pages, you can see that it's suggested, hit tab if that's the first suggestion in the list and that's what we want to import, and then immediately that's added to the top. And then one last very helpful feature is that which will happen, if you're not using a certain import, like let's bring in feed, once again, feed from pages. So we're not using this. You can see that VS Code very conveniently grays that out for us. It tells us we're not using it. So what do we need to do if we want to remove it? And additionally, if we want to organize all of our imports, well, if we go to View Command Palette, and you can see the shortcut here, you should see the shortcut for your computer, but in my case it's Shift Command P. You can use that keyboard shortcut to toggle it. If we type in Organize Imports, you can see that we have that option here, which we can click. And once again, we have the shortcut for your computer will be visible on the right-hand side. In my case, it's Shift-Alt-O. This allows us to, using that key combination, to not only remove an unused import, but also organize it. So you can see feed was removed and all the imports are organized according to first absolute paths and then relative paths by alphabetical order. So that may be a lot to take in. You don't necessarily need to use all these tips right now, but I guarantee all of them will help you in the future, not only in this project with working with React, but it's going to make your life as a developer a lot better.